what you know you can't explain. But you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. Experience the awakening. Brilliant anonymous researchers. Patriots, join us in the Patriot Army. Trust the plan, pain coming. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. RedStateTalkRadio.com, Brighteon.tv, Rumble.com/MG Show. The end won't be for everyone. That choice to know will be yours. Where we go one, we go all. Fight, 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 and fight we will. We fight every day right here on the MG Show. Welcome to the MG Show, where I am riding solo, but we got great news. Yeti's going to be joining me today, right, Yeti? No, he's not. He isn't. Is he? Uh-oh. Did I just... Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good evening, whenever you listen to this show. Thank you for joining the MG Show podcast, where we are fighting every day. We got a lot of great people in here. Mark is in here, which is crammed backwards. Midnight's Watch, JRT Navy, welcome. I see a lot of red castles in here. Lord Vader does not have a red castle yet, but we'll get him one. KX2, thank you. Candy Gregory, Rush, thank you. Thank you for the gifting of the red castle as well. Thank you, Real Iron Eagle. Good morning, R. Hansen. You're naked as well. Oh my God, Knacknud is naked. I'm here for the Shady Free Show. Oh my gosh. Don't tell him that, guys. We're going to do this. We're going to do it live, and I should have like a little Pepe here. Like, hey, Shady, what do you think? I don't know. We love our Shady Land. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for the gifted subscription to the MG Show as well. How you doing, Pastor Shadowlight? Fly by nights out there. Penelope. We're also on Facebook. Don't forget to go on the Facebook.com. If you're still on the Facebook, do not leave the battlefield. We got 7 viewers right there right now. 10 comments. Kwan is out there. Robert is out there. We got a lot of people here. You got to move over to Rumble. That's fine. Mike Hess is out there. Candy's out there. Kino is out there. Happy Friday to you. God bless you all. Thank you guys for joining. K2 gifted a subscription. E. Boyle gifted a subscription. We're going to get some clothes on these people. Pastor Shadowley, let's go. We do not want naked boys. The 2A boys are here. And welcome to the show. Some new names that I haven't seen before. I love that. Rocky's mama is here. Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit today about something that, all these narratives, all of these people going against people that are in our government to picked by Donald J. Trump and you, for example. Ducks, thank you. Paul's out there. Thank you. Paul Bunyan's out there. Thank you for the gifted subscription. G Brothers, we love you guys. Thank you. This is the Matrix Lounge Live, says Quisp. I haven't seen you either. Welcome to the show, guys. I love all the new names in here. So we're going to talk about a lot of the people on X. You see a lot of people that were in the first administration and actually got fired or forced to resign. Midnight's Watch, thank you. EMP Hands, thank you. And when these people are, not a giant fan of Donald J. Trump and they're acting like they're MAGA, but maybe they're a little mad, okay? Maybe there's a little mad. They're a little mad. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of disinformation out there about people. And the recent one is like Kash Patel's girlfriend is a honeypot. Are you kidding me? Come. She was a country singer. She's 20 years younger than Kash, and they're like all out there trying to make it like he's a bad guy and she's an Israeli honeypot. Stop it. guys. If you take your head out of this deep dream X that's mind controlling you to believe and grasp onto any thorn bush is out there, you need to stop, because these people are not your friends, guys. And bitter FAGA, fake MAGAs. That's right. They're bitter fake MAGAs. Press 17, if Press 17 is in here. I'm going to press 17 because Press 17 is in here. I love that name, by the way. And, we got the Flynn Network is behind it. This is Joel Altman. Okay. He's been on all the great Reawaken tours with General Flynn. And I'm sorry, guys. These people, he's calling Kardashian Kash Patel. Okay. Sues Kyle Seraphin. Kyle Seraphin is a podcaster, a self-proclaimed whistleblower, recovering FBI agent, husband, dad, veteran, gun guy, unscoldable. He's got 219,000, followers. But he's, out there saying that Kash Patel's girlfriend is a honeypot for the Israeli spy, Mossad. If you don't have the actual facts and information, people might actually believe this stuff. So this is Joel Altman, and I tell you, the Flynn Network works in different silos. Some try to appear that they're not with the other. Joe Altman's on another silo. He's the Tina Peters silo. He's the silo now going after Kash Patel. I did a little research on who is spreading this ridiculous rumor, and it came up with Kyle Seraphin. Larry Loomer even chimed in on it as well. And so there's your Flynn Network, connections. I don't know, and I didn't really dig into Kyle Seraphin. I've seen him a lot. I don't really know him. But, it's one of those things where, you just got to, and I support Kash Patel, okay? He's been on our show 3-4 times. I went on CNN. They were very happy with my, presence on CNN and how I actually stood up and talked about Kash Patel, how he's a name to remember, right? The Q post with that. I got the spy op post on to CNN, and don't it looks very cryptic. It's not cryptic. They're initials. Okay, we got the spy op post on CNN, and the whole Flynn Network didn't like that. Isn't that interesting? Why would people not want somebody talking about Q with knowledge on CNN and actually shutting them down? It was actually a pretty good report. And he also said, because I did show Donnie O'Sullivan my research on the, January 6th, where there could be let me just say this. I am alleging, possibly theorizing, that General Flynn, Charlie and Michael, and Roger Stone, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, did that violence to make you look violent, okay? I am holding on to that. And that $100 million lawsuit that Enrique Terrio from the Proud Boys, it has been shut down, okay? Rightfully so. He doesn't deserve a penny for making you look violent on January 6th, in my opinion. I don't stand. So Donnie O'Sullivan even says, Jeffrey Peterson does not support the violence of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. And the 1AP, okay? 1AP was there too. That's Flynn's private bodyguards as well. DQ, I support Kash. Who else is out there supporting Kash? Let's see who else is out there. Absolutely trust Kash. Lynn, yep. And you got to remember, I don't really trust anybody, but Donald J. Trump is the boss, okay? If your boss is Donald J. Trump, you're going to make sure you do the right thing, period. The end, okay? Love Kash and support him 100%. Paula says that. I do too. So let's kind of, look into this a little bit because, he was kind enough to come on our show. He said that he loves the MG Show. I've got a book saying, Love the MG Show, Where We Go When We Go All, signed Kash Patel, the government gangsters. He's got the map for everybody that screwed over your president, right? And it pretty much lines up with Q. And when Kash Patel was asked about Q, right? QAnon, they said, he says, I don't support a lot of it because there's a lot of fake disinformation from fake Q decoders, okay, to keep you confused. So the Flynn Clown Network is at it again, in my opinion, with Joel Altman. We've got, I want to just kind of go through this actual thing right here. This is the defamation suit. So Alexis Wilkins brings a defamation suit against self-styled, and because he's self-styled, he self-styled himself an FBI whistleblower, okay? FBI Director Kash Patel's girlfriend sues XP. So it really isn't. So they're saying that Kash Patel is suing him. No, this is a separate lawsuit. The defendant is Kyle M. Seraphin. And he maliciously lied about Alexis Wilkins, falsely asserting that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government assigned to manipulate and compromise the director of the FBI. So how is he being manipulated? How is he being compromised? Well, their narrative is going to say, well, he didn't release the Epstein files. He is going to be talking about the Epstein files in front of the House committee coming up, okay? I think it's coming up in September. There is a problem. Q said, we highlighted Epstein for a reason. Your president called it a hoax. I'm thinking there's something bigger to it than what you guys think. And, people are saying there's no arrest for Epstein Island. We don't have victims. The Epstein cases, the victims, Epstein's victims, were paid over $550 million, okay? That means you signed an NDA saying you can't talk, okay? And you got the money. So what do? So what I've researched and found is that they actually say, okay, victim X, you got a $20 million settlement from Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to buy it for $5 million, and they're going to keep the $20 million, and then they're going to donate it to bad people that went into the government, guys. It's all there. Maybe it's a J.G. Wentworth style scam, right? So we need to find that out, because with law, with anything to do with law, you have to have a victim, somebody that was hurt, okay? I don't see any victims saying that XYZ did bad things to me at Epstein Island. I'm not saying that didn't happen or did not happen. I'm saying according to the rule of law, you need to have a victim. And that's very just common sense. So their network is saying no arrest for Epstein Island. What are you going to do? If there's no black book or list, people that flew on the flight logs to Jeffrey Epstein, you can infer things from that. Absolutely, 100%. And they're probably bad things. I agree with that. But if you don't have a victim, you don't have a crime. So let's go back to this. So FBI director right here. This is the allegations right here. Let me just go to this right here. Let me just go to the article. Reason magazine actually published it. So defendant Kyle M. Seraphin has maliciously lied about Alexis Wilkins, falsely asserting that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government designed to manipulate, compromise the director of the FBI. Defendant, a former FBI special agent himself. Now, he's a former FBI special agent. Was he working for Comey? Is this still happening, guys? Interesting, right? So he's a former FBI special agent himself who now makes a living as a podcaster and political commentator, profiting off controversy and outrage. Is using this fabricated story as a self-enriching clickbait and has spread it to his sizable audience that follows his daily broadcasts on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Accordingly, I can't even be on YouTube. Accordingly, Miss Wilkins seeks to hold the defendant accountable for his malicious and knowing lies. The complaint claims that Seraphin stated this last week on his show. FBI Director Kash Patel has had his own little honeypot issue that's been going on as of late. So we're just going to acknowledge it real publicly. He's got a girlfriend that's half his age who is both a country music singer, a political commentator on Rumble, a friend of John Rich through Bongino, who also now owns a big chunk of Rumble. And she's also a former Mossad agent in what is like the equivalent of their NSA. Yeah, okay. But I'm sure that's totally because she really is looking for a cross-eyed, thickish built, super cool bro who's almost 50 years old, who's Indian American. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're really close to Trump's administration. Anyway, I'm sure that's totally just like love. That's what real love looks like. It goes on to argue, defendant cannot even claim ignorance or negligence because he has personally met Miss Wilkins with Mr. Patel at a conservative political event roughly 2 years ago and was specifically aware from that encounter that Miss Wilkins was in a relationship with Mr. Patel, who was not the FBI director at the time. For more on the earlier iterations and allegations against Wilkins, see this New York Post article. Should be an interesting case to follow. And we're going to go ahead and follow it, okay? Because I think it's total BS. And when you have people talking crap about people, he came out on the Dan Bongino show, did he? I don't know, Michelle. I don't really know him very much. So Michelle 68 Delta says, give me a break. Kyle Seraphin is a prior FBI agent, a whistleblower who came out on Dan Bongino's show. Well, he's now lying. So does that make it right? If he's lying, does that make it right? Does that make it right? Kash Patel's country singer girlfriend fends off disheartening conspiracy theories that she's honeypotting FBI boss. I mean, just listen to that stupid ass, headline, guys. I'm sorry. I want to see. So this is the FBI director, Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, has been forced to fend off an incredibly disheartening conspiracy theories that she's honeypotting the bureau's head honcho for a foreign government. The 26-year-old country artist says the skeptics are contorting her backstory, as she's even acknowledged she can understand it. I think people, certain pieces, I get it, Wilkins told the Megyn Kelly show on Wednesday. Go ahead and get out of there. This is it right here. So they want to connect things. They want to justify just some pain that they've been through watching the last 4 years. There's pieces of that, I can understand, she continued. I think that they've taken these pieces of evidence that you laid out and tie them all together in the wrong ways. Conspiracy theorists about Wilkins exploded on the internet after the Justice Department FBI's July 6 memo about convicted sex offender. And he was convicted, guys. The guy was arrested. Jeffrey Epstein, which concluded that the evidence suggested Epstein killed himself in prison and did not keep an incriminating client list. So people have their own way. They think that he suicided, and they're saying we don't have the evidence that shows that he was suicided. It shows that he was actually took his own life, okay, not by somebody else, okay. And if we don't like that, you go ahead and attack people because it goes against what you believed. Okay. Maybe it's right that he actually took his own life. We have to give that some thought as well. Some of the trolls speculated that Arkansas-raised singer was a Mossad agent intended to compromise Patel, 45. At least one of them misidentified her as Jewish. All right, let's watch this. Coming your way. Megyn Kelly show, Alexis Wilkins.
This gal who grows up for a large part in Arkansas, attracted to country music, you become a country music singer and star, you are very involved in veterans charities, you're Christian, you went to a Christian university, you stood up for yourself without doing the liberal talking points there, made a record of what they were doing to you. You get a show on Rumble. I mean, this is basically your next step will be Fox News correspondent in the grand scheme of life. But for some reason, the Epstein thing gets blamed on you. And there's a lot of this on the internet. There are people with millions and millions of followers in posts that have been seen millions and millions of times accusing you of being a spy for Israel. Mostly Mossad spy, could be other spies. We cut just one in soundbite form, but there's so much more. Here's just a sample.
Is the director of the FBI caught up in an Israeli honeypot operation? All right, here's the context. Quote, some social media users have wondered whether the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department's refusal to release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients could have something to do with Alexis Wilkins, the 26-year-old girlfriend of 45-year-old FBI director Kash Patel. This is what people online are pointing to, the fact that Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, works for PragerU, which is a media company that supposedly espouses American values, except for the fact that it is run by a former Israeli military intelligence officer. Now, I did a bunch of digging, and unfortunately, there's actually not a lot of public information to go off of in terms of Alexis Wilkins' background. Lived in England and Switzerland before settling in Fayetteville, Arkansas when she was 9. It also says that she attended College du Le Monde International School in Switzerland. Now,
yeah, and rightfully pointed out, this guy's last name is Lee, okay? Lee. What's the Lee bloodline?
interestingly, ChatGPT is calling this a strange biographical gap in that she has no visible friend network or public high school, college cohort interviews, which they say is unusual for a public figure in entertainment, and that if a Mossad asset were inserted early in life, these gaps would be precisely where you would hide alternate history or handler training. Anyway, I'm not sure what's true or what's not true, but evidently these are, quote, classic elements used in honeypot operations: soft power, ideological alignment, and sexual emotional entanglement.
You know, I'd like to add that a lot of these, because the PragerU guy was whatever Mossad agent, that means she is. Okay, these are the type of fake connections that people make. For example, I went to Ramtha School of Enlightenment. Now I'm Ramtha. These people are insane. Okay, it does not mean that she is part of that. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. The only piece of that I can glean that is actually true is the CEO of PragerU is actually acknowledges on her bio that she served in military intelligence with the IDF. So she, the CEO of PragerU, has an affiliation, but there's nothing like that about you. So when this started coming out, were you shocked? I mean, do you think this is really basically just that you're with Kash?
I was shocked. I knew that, that Prager this is kind of something that I think people in the deep sides of the internet like to pick at, when they can't figure out what else is wrong. So some of it didn't surprise me when it first started coming up. I was like, all right, this looks like this is what they're focusing on today. But then to your point, Megan, these posts got millions of views. And I could list all of the ways that this hurt me and my family, but some examples are the fact that people begin harassing you. People start doxing your family. People start, accusing you, just aside from all the other stuff that's hurtful, the fact that I've dedicated myself to this movement, to good values, to speaking to children, to doing things that I thought were good, that were in line with my values, but also the fact that it's accusing me of manipulating the person that I'm with, that I love. That's a horrible accusation. And seeing this pop off on the internet, I think the initial ones actually didn't tag me. So it was very bizarre to kind of start to see this roll in on my Twitter and it not being or my ex, and it not being a good influx of what people were talking about. It was very surprising, yes.
Now, what did Kash say? Because it's easier to take the slings and arrows yourself than to see them come to your loved one.
Very, very similar to what he said. I think he said something similar even when he got confirmed. You can throw whatever you want at me, but I think his example there was don't mess with the agents in the field. Don't mess with the people who have dedicated their lives to law enforcement. And it's honestly very similar. He's fine with people coming after him, printing things that make sense, don't make sense, whatever, ask him the questions. But I think when it came to me, he was very frustrated that something that was limited to the governmental side, something that he's obviously, dealing with, something that transparently, and Megan, this, I don't know anything about. That's not something that he's allowed to talk about. I have no awareness besides what everyone else is seeing, probably the same questions everyone else has. And so for that to be something that came up that put me into the line of fire, he was very unhappy, to say the least.
So he's been in the news a lot lately since the release of that 2-page memo, which was reportedly a joint effort between FBI and DOJ. And that's what Todd Blanche, the deputy at the DOJ, says, that there is no daylight between FBI and DOJ on it. But of course, there's been all sorts of reports, including my own reporting. And this is true, that on the Friday that this all broke, Dan Bongino did tell the administration it's either Pam Bondi or me. And the only reason he stayed is because he extracted assurances that more information would be released. But some of my audience has come back and said, whatever happened to it's her or me. No, that was true. He did say that. Though he had second thoughts once the administration started to say, okay, well, we'll release some more. But I'm here to tell you there was daylight between the FBI and the DOJ on certain portions of that memo. I think that'll be proven. So how big was the cocktail that Kash needed that night? And do you think this has been tough on him? Because, this is his base too.
I think so. I think that it's hard when you see anyone you love being attacked for something that you're doing. I've encountered it on the smaller scale as I've been a public figure for long enough to see, people try to picket my, family, try and find people online. This is something that people do. Hence, it's funny referring back to the ChatGPT investigation that was held on the SOT you played, that there aren't any interviews of my friends. Well, there aren't any interviews of my friends because I don't want the internet to attack them. I think it's pretty sensical. But no, he's dedicated to the American people as he always has been. I think that when people get into government, they don't just, snap into something else. People have the same mission that they did on the campaign trail and during the time before they were in government, which is really all I can say on that. But I think that, ultimately, it's been hard to see me come into the line of fire for something he's already dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to see additional Epstein files released?
You know what? If people stop calling me a spy, absolutely.
Yeah, I can understand. For the record, I should ask you, are you a spy for any government?
Definitely not. That is a firm no on that front.
Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress.
Yeah, they have. And his administration has made enormous progress, and it's pissing off the clowns and maybe former FBI agents that aided to the clownness that you're seeing now today. Yet he says he's MAGA. Is he really? You know, you got to ask yourself some questions, guys. And this is classic Kyle Seraphin maneuver. He got fired for cause. Okay, he's mad. He's mad, guys. Now, I wanted to show this with you as well, share this with you. So on August 2nd, I might have been, asked to kind of do a little research. So I did, and I was able to find this. The narrative labeling Alexis Wilkins as a Jewish honeypot appears to have originated in early 2025, primarily tied to a relationship with Kash Patel, the FBI director nominee under Donald Trump. The fueled conspiracy theories by surrounding Jeffrey Epstein case. The claim often ties her to PragerU, a conservative media organization that falsely asserts that she is a Jewish or Mossad agent, despite her identifying as a Christian and of Armenian descent. The origin of the first post, guys, it's the earliest identifiable post pushing this narrative comes from a blog post on helenglass.net, helenglass.substack.com, published on February 24th, 2025. Titled Kash Patel's Honeypot, Alexis Wilkins. The author, Helena Glass, cites the Twitter username Sam Parker as the initial source who noted the seduction and simultaneous rise to fame of Alexis Wilkins looks more like a Zionist honeypot infiltration. Glass agrees with the sentiment and elaborates, questioning Wilkins' background and alleging unverifiable claims about her family history, such as her parents' identities, her father's supposed military service, all that. The post suggests that Wilkins was assigned to Patel by a Zionist cartel to influence him. Booga, booga, booga. Though it provides no concrete evidence beyond speculation about her PragerU affiliation and personal life. So it first started by somebody called the Kremlin Trolls, okay, that gained traction on July 10th, 2025 by anonymous X account, Kremlin Trolls. I wonder if Are We Live has anything to do with this site. Claiming Wilkins worked for an NGO that's basically Israeli intelligence, referring to PragerU, and questioning why an attractive young woman would date Patel, calling it a classic honeypot. This post leveraged the age gap between Wilkins, 26, and Patel, 45. PragerU CEO Marissa Strait's past service in the Israeli Defense Force fueled the conspiracy. Other platforms like Reddit used the narratives, and that they saw that narrative spread. June 8th, 2025, by UForce 122, our conspiracy comments claimed Wilkins worked for PragerU, described as an Israeli Mossad front company, linking her to Patel's handling of the Epstein files. This post received significant engagement. Another Reddit post by UCAN 189, also there, furthered the narrative, speculating about a joint Mossad CIA operation. So the key figures are here, okay? And I added Kyle Seraphin later, but Helena Glass, Sam Parker, Kremlin Trolls, Reddit users. The narrative emerged amid MAGA's disillusionment over the Trump administration closure of the Epstein case in 2025, with Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi announcing no client list existed and no foul play in Epstein's death. This fueled speculation that Patel was compromised with Wilkins' PragerU affiliation. All right. So if you look at, I asked, some more questions to dig deeper, and it's not showing on this, but let me just get who else has amplified this story. I bet you guys are going to be surprised, right? Kremlin Trolls, Sam Parker, Senate. Okay, Sam Parker Senate, at Sam Parker Senate on X. At Laura Loomer on July 6, 2025, Loomer criticized Patel, indirectly fueling speculation about Wilkins by questioning Patel's actions as FBI director, by calling Wilkins a honeypot. Her post about Patel handling the Epstein case amplified broader conspiracy. Gunther Eagleman, also on July 8th. You see where this is leading at? They seeded the narrative. The Force 122, they went ahead at the Force 122 on Reddit, June 8th, claiming the same thing. It seems like the Flynn Network, doesn't it? Just pretty interesting, guys. And, so we're just looking at all of this stuff here. Let's look at this from Toria Brooks right here. This is FBI former agent Kyle Seraphin unabashedly accuses FBI girlfriend Alexis of being a honeypot. Alexis Wilkins of a honeypot due to being 20 years his junior. Let's just listen. This is the kind of BS that people are falling for. Here we go.
Right, but she totally wasn't a honeypot. Like, she's an undercover operative, like doing totally legit things. The fact is, this woman was apparently at a fairly high level in the CI program. She was either an assistant section chief or a section chief, which is a truly problematic thing. And Kash Patel takes umbrage with the word honeypot, not anything else. He's had his own little honeypot issue that's been going on of late, so we're just going to acknowledge it real publicly. He's got a girlfriend that's half his age, who apparently is both a country music singer, a political commentator on Rumble, a friend now of John Rich through Bongino, who also owns a big chunk of Rumble, and she's also a former Mossad agent in what is like the equivalent of their NSA. But I'm sure that's totally because like she's really looking for like a cross-eyed, kind of thickish built, super cool bro who's almost 50 years old, who's Indian in America. Like, it has nothing to do with the fact that we're really close to the Trump administration. Anyway, I'm sure that that's totally just like love. That's what real love looks like. That's what.
If you take apart everything that he said, it sounds like he's personally pissed off at Kash, doesn't it? It doesn't. He didn't have any sauce. He didn't have anything that's proven. He has nothing. People need to like put a little filter on their brains and realize when you're being lied to, and this is when you're being lied to.
Why Kash Patel's in his 40s and lives with a man in Las Vegas full time. Totally regular, no big deal. I'm just saying it's interesting that he decided to go and take umbrage with this, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's so wild, Steve, because it actually goes to the thing that was stated earlier, and it ties into the Epstein situation. The New York field office and the New York mafia, which I will have you explain in your terms in a second, because I'm sure you've experienced it differently. The New York mafia and the FBI got Kash Patel's ear almost immediately, supplanted our recommendation for a good deputy director, to his detriment, I think, and then started whispering sweet nothings like, that chick is not a honeypot, you need to do these things, and managed to basically discredit him by punching out a bunch of fake information that made Bondi look terrible, and I think actually is going to bring down the deputy director time of Dan Bongino. I think I was an ex-FBI director. Believe me. Trust me, bro.
Right? See, I just like when people have sauce, like real information, guys, okay? I don't think that, I heard any evidence of anything, right? So I just wanted to kind of cover it. What are your guys' thoughts? Am I way off base on there? If you're on the Rumble video, leave a comment. Let me know underneath the video. If you're in Twitter, leave a comment as well. It does seem so obvious, doesn't it, Land of Hoy? It does. And he does sound scripted. It sounds like somebody's a little mad, right? So much emotion. Trust me, bro. Maybe I should cry online and, make up stuff to get clicks and bait, okay? I don't even know how that guy even has a show. I've really never heard of him. So this is it. Files defamation suit. Alexis Wilkins files that defamation suit against Kyle Seraphin for falsely accusing that she's an American-born, that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government without any proof. That is obvious slander or defamation. So in light of Alexis Wilkins' defamation suit, Kyle Seraphin and reinstatement of Real Steve Friend is especially disconcerting to watch Friend sit mutually as Kyle defames, mutely, like Shady Mutely, as Kyle defames Wilkins as a honeypot. Is this the kind of character or judgment we hope for in an FBI agent? No, it isn't, is it? So this is going to get interesting. We will follow it on the MG show. Because all we want is the truth. Nothing more, right? Pretty interesting stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. Let me just see if there's anything new on this. Let me see. Can you imagine what kind of agent Kyle Seraphin was? This guy is discrediting himself at ludicrous speed. It's terrifying to think he used to have the people's lives and futures in his hands. That's from Anita McGroin. Anita McGroin. That's a funny name. FBI director exploiting faith to run forced labor scheme. Okay, yep. This is the takedown of that mega church, by the way. Very interesting. Telling a woman to just take the hit after being slandered is enabling abuse. Speaking up isn't revenge; it's accountability," says Tammy Nance. Absolutely. So it's going all over now. All the details are there. We kind of read through it. By the way, the people that actually run the Reason magazine, this is interesting. They are a foundation. Let me get to this real quick. They're a foundation. The Reason magazine is a foundation. Founder Robert Poole served as president from 78 to 21. Current president and CEO is David Knott, N-O-T-T. Board of trustees are there as well. Mark Alessi is currently serving as the vice president of operation for Reason Foundation and the publisher of Reason magazine. So, you can dig into those guys if you want, but I'm just saying that, everybody has a problem. Everybody's saying, oh, we love President Trump. And then they go on their little Twitter and talk against President Trump. You guys are noticing it, right? Mark Naughton is Kyle's partner. Thank you. I did not know that. I don't really follow that guy. I'm just trying to point out the hypocrisy here with, the ridiculousness of these narratives that spread. And, what do we do here on the MG Show? We expose psychological operations. Now, is Kash Patel disseminating the deep state? Who's with me? Do we want to keep doing that? Because he's got the map. Go read Government Gangsters. It's all right there. And it all basically ties to real QD codes, not these fake QD coders that were submitted into our movement, basically to make you look stupid, make me look stupid, and make all of us look stupid. We will not have that anymore, guys. Not anymore. We're done. All right. So with that, we got Dana White making a huge announcement. Let's go. Check this out.
I had a great day. Just about to take off here from Washington, D.C. We had the meeting at the White House. Could not have gone better. This is going to be awesome. White House fight is on. The White House fight is on. I will have more details on that in the next couple weeks.
Boom.
But we got it done today.
The White House fight for UFC White House edition is on. Apparently that's going to happen on July 4th, 2025. Wow. That's awesome. All right. So real quick, let me just show you this again. This is the Flynn Clown Network is at it again because I do support FBI Director Kash Patel. But look at how stupid these people that are acting like they're because we need all they do is call names, right? Isn't that what the Democrats do? Don't the Democrats do that? I mean, Kardashian Kash Patel through his girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. No, not through his girlfriend. Alexis sued Kyle Seraphin for his BS comments for defamation, asserting that he's this, that, and the other thing. This thread should be really good. Now, the leftist attacks of chilling free speech. So now they're saying that because we think it's BS, that it's leftist attacks. So the leftists are telling, have you learned the term projection, guys? Joe Altman is projecting right here. I'm sorry, Joe. I know you, and I think you're an idiot, okay? This thread should really be good, and now the leftist attacks of chilling free speech and the new tactic of supposed right. Kyle thinks a beautiful woman dating a goofy see, look at this, goofy. Who uses this term? RPG director turned his back on a whistleblower, and the FBI is still a real thing. I mean, Kyle is onto something. When the head of PragerU worked with Israeli and bragged about it. No, this has nothing to do with her. This has to do with the person that worked at PragerU, not her. This is more of an indictment of Kash than it is Alexis and PragerU. Kyle has been destroying Kash for his betrayal on the very people who saw him in person, who had acted with integrity and character, but he didn't. He stuck the knife in deeper and decided clubbing and putting his FBI badge on his belt to satisfy his central casting contract was a good idea. Article and lawsuit below. This is BS and will not end well for Kardashian Patel, is what he's calling him. This is somebody that is that has been on the Flynn tours, okay? This is a confirmed Flynn dude, guys. He was in the Deep Rig movie with Patrick Byrne. These people do not like Kash, okay? And he's losing faith in humanity. I think it's time you step up and put a stop to this. Kyle has a right to be pissed. So does she. It's no different than what is done to you over and over again. Now he refuses Alexis to take shots at Kyle. Pathetic. No, she's suing him, okay? She's suing him. And this is Marissa Straight. This is now Kash's girlfriend. You see how stupid that is, guys? Do you see how stupid this is? That's not Kash's girlfriend. That is the CEO of PragerU, not Kash Patel's girlfriend. You can't make a jump like that, guys. Well, if you're actually in X, you might make that jump because you're believing crap without even researching. So research the truth, guys. And that's all I want to do. I want to just leave it there. How dare you? And shame on you, Joe Altman. Let's let Kash cook. Let's let President Donald J. Trump cook, and we'll go from there. What do you guys think? Thanks, Shady. Shady. Oh, he's not here. Darn it. Yeti, are you my co-host today? No. All right. So I like all the things. So here we have other great news. Lisa Cook is cooked, and there's evidence of a third home, guys. Are you kidding me? 3 strikes, you're out. Today, the U.S. Federal Housing sent, and Lisa Cook was fired from the Federal Reserve by Donald J. Trump under the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. And I think that's awesome that he used that against them. The U.S. Housing sent a second criminal referral in the matter of Lisa D. Cook related to a mortgage on a third property and alleged misrepresentation about her properties to the United States government during her time as governor on the Federal Reserve. On April 7, 2021, Cook entered a 15-year mortgage for a condominium in Cambridge, Massachusetts, representing it as her second home. Only 8 months later, on December 1st, 2021, Cook signed an ethics form with the U.S. government that this property was an investment rental property. In subsequent filings, 2022 to 2025, Cook consistently listed that property as an investment rental property, not a second home. Representing the property as a second home may have allowed Cook to secure a lower second home mortgage down payment and rates, as investment properties typically carry higher down payments and higher rates due to increased risk. Additionally, Cook alleged misrepresented her Atlanta, Georgia property from 2022 to 2025 to the U.S. government as her residence, despite evidence suggesting it was being rented out to tenants. Similarly, Cook declared in 2025 government filing that her Ann Arbor, Michigan property was her personal residence. However, we have no reason to believe that as of 2025, the Ann Arbor property is being used as a rental property, not a personal residence. These inconsistencies appear Cook made multiple false representations, including to the U.S. government, regarding the status of her mortgage and properties. And what's interesting is, all these people. Let's go to Pulte's page because he said, I keep getting asked over and over. Let me just see if I can find it. CNBC reports that Jerome Powell has continued to let Lisa Cook have access to her office and electronics, despite the president of the United States ordering her being fired, guys. Let's go more on the Lisa Cook stuff. Check it out. Wow.
Talk Eastern this morning. A judge hears arguments in Lisa Cook's lawsuit after President Trump fired her from her role at the Fed. Lydia Hu at the courthouse. Lydia, what are we going to learn today?
Well, good morning to you, Stuart. We are going to hear from Fed Governor Lisa Cook, her lawyers, about why they say she deserves to have a restraining order entered at this moment that would basically save her job on a short-term basis and keep her in her role as Fed governor for now while the underlying long-term merits of the litigation continue to play out. But happening just this morning, I want to draw your attention to 2 filings that were made, Stuart. One filing by the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell, chairman, of course, who are taking no position in this litigation. They're simply asking the judge to make a fast determination. That second filing coming from President Trump himself, opposing Fed Governor Lisa Cook's request for a temporary restraining order. He wants to move forward with her termination and get her up and out of office. At the heart of this case, Stuart, whether the allegations of mortgage fraud made by Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte amount to cause for Cook's termination. Remember, the statute, the Federal Reserve Act, allows a president to remove a Fed governor only when there is cause. Here, Cook stands accused but not charged of fraud, so she's calling the allegations, quote, a thinly veiled pretext and an attempt to remove Governor Cook over her unwillingness to lower interest rates. But a White House spokesperson, appearing confident that they're going to prevail, they had this to say in a statement, quote, the president exercised his lawful authority to remove a governor who was credibly accused of lying in financial documents from a highly sensitive position overseeing financial institutions. Stuart, I want to highlight one interesting legal angle. Very interesting to see that Cook does not deny misrepresentations and mortgage documents in all of her legal filings so far. Instead, she's suggesting in her briefs that any misrepresentation that has been made was a mistake. That's really important because in order to be liable for fraud, if she were charged, a prosecutor would have to prove that she intended to deceive. That's the mental state requirement. So if her inaccuracies were mistakes, as she says, then Cook would argue she never intended to deceive, therefore she can never be liable for fraud. If a judge today finds that to be credible, that maybe Cook, based on that representation, could be successful on the merits of the underlying lawsuit, that would weigh in Cook's favor to get this restraining order to keep her in her job for now. So I'm going to be hyper-focused on questions about that because now, as of last night, she stands accused of 3 instances of mortgage fraud, 2 referrals to the DOJ. Stuart, hearing starts at 10 a.m. I'm going to follow that for you.
She signed documents. Okay. You didn't intend to lie. You lied. All right. So, yeah, Pulte, thank you very much. All right. So, Washington Examiner, Pulte files the second mortgage complaint, right? So we got 3 total now. I'm trying to find the one post here real quick. Dr. Cook is highly unlikely to prevail on merits. Removal for cause is a capacious standard in one Congress has vested in the discretion of the president. He can do this, guys. A third home, guys. Wow. He's saying there was a post here saying that Lisa Cook has the same lawyers as Hunter Biden and others. Yeah, these people are just trying to protect crime. I mean, that's all they're doing. It's time to get rid of the crime, guys. All right. So that's that. Looks like there is a shooting in San Antonio. There's somebody right here looking at it now. It doesn't look too.
The perp took himself out.
We don't know. This is JLR on X. Looks pretty much contained. They just put that tape up. Let's see if we can see anything else. Nothing really.
It never stops in saying shooting that happened, and they're putting crime scene tape all across.
Yeah.
Perp took himself out.
So we don't know. More to come on that. That stream started 19 minutes ago. So just keep your eyes on that. Whew, I tell you, what happens when bad news is about to break against them, guys? It's all bad news. So pray for that. We also have the victims from the terrible shooting of the transsexual man, Robert West. Oh, can't remember the last name right now. Westman. Apparently, in 2013, Westman's parents, who are divorced, have yet to make a public statement about the shooting. Neither could be reached for comment. Westman was 11 when her mother and father, James Westman, divorced in 2013. At the time, she and her brother and sister lived with the parents in Hastings, another Twin City suburbs. Police were called to that residence at least 4 times in 2003 to 2016, including one for welfare check of an adult female, a sibling who was threatening suicide in 2014. Also 2014, police responded to a report of vandalism at the home. Officers saw several offensive words and pictures written on windows of the garage and the father's car. Another call in 2010 related to a juvenile problem with the 17-year-old daughter who was out of control. But nothing in the records indicates those incidents involved the shooter. So the father left in 2013. Pretty interesting. Let me get down to this because we got to this is it right here. These are the released identities of the innocent faces that were victims of the transgender violence. And I'm going to call it what it is because it is the transgender violence. I'm sorry. 10-year-old Harper Moisky was murdered. 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel was murdered. 13-year-old Andre Gunter is recovering after surgery. 12-year-old Sophia Forchus is fighting for her life in the ICU, and there's so many more victims that are recovering. Pray for them all because We can't have this in our society. And it's not the gun that killed anybody, okay? The gun was innocent. It's the person that actually fired the gun. It's pretty crazy. This was the time right here when Tim Walz, you're going to love this, Tim Walz made Minnesota a trans sanctuary. Check it out. This is the moment. And this is the vice mayor. We protect our trans kids.
I'm going to do it. Guess what? Love wins. Here you go.
Wow. Pretty happy. You know, if they want to do stuff after they're 18, change their gender, by all means. The shooter said that he was mad that he brainwashed himself. He was tired of being trans. There's a mental issue there. And you read the police reports from the last post that I read to you guys. I mean, there was cries for help, all ignored. The dad took off. Why? The mom signed the name change. Why? You know, it's just kind of sad, guys. Really sad. I want to talk to you about Gutfeld. This was a pretty fire little piece that he did yesterday on, I believe it was The Five. Thoughts and prayers, guys.
Thoughts and prayers. That is all they are offering.
Thoughts and prayers just aren't enough here right now. Because these kids were actually praying.
At the end of the day, thoughts and prayers have led us to having more of these deaths, more of these shootings.
Keep us in your thoughts and prayers, but also keep us in the thoughts for action.
Okay, Greg, I'm going to go to you because when this all was happening, I thought, wow, okay, this feels like something Greg either predicted or could have told you was going to happen again.
Yes. This is why none of these a-holes can lecture anyone on compassion. The most compassionate people on this planet are trying to stop the trans delusion. The least compassionate are the people in the media, academia, and politicians who enabled this hysteria of horror. What is so glaring about the trans cult? Apparently your identity is the only thing that matters until you do something awful. Then it's the least important variable. Then you look at everything else. You talk about guns. But you suddenly, it's all of a sudden like, oh, we can't talk about that. What was it, the other trans shooter that they actually hid her identity? In this manifesto that this creep wrote, he said he was tired of being trans and that he had wished he had never brainwashed himself. What more do you need straight from the monster's mouth? Politicians, activists, teachers, you built this. You could have listened to the warnings. We were talking about this on this show for years. You amplified a hysterical, literally hysterical phenomenon that was going no place good. You created a poisonous program that twisted young minds for destruction, a nihilistic place to be when you deny biology and they have nowhere to go. So all of these media arguments, what you're seeing there among those people, it's to escape their own culpability in the reality that they created. So forget the layer of mental illness and gun control. The origin of the evil lies in the creation of a mindset that indulged a delusional self, ruining connections with fellow human beings. So that trans, by ascribing extreme aggrieved mentality, then gets directed against society. So this person feels justified in killing children. His killing resulted from that ideology. And if you don't believe that, you're one dumb asshole. Excuse me.
Trey Gowdy, great to have you.
Well said, Greg. Well said. We have to have the conversation. Now, we were, if you spoke out about this or said, hey, I don't really care about that, you got chastised on social media. You got canceled. You got all this stuff. And they're basically saying and calling out. So Land Hoy said that the medications he had no reason to live because the medication gave him cancer. In his journal, I haven't read that, but I'm just going to read your comment to possibly say, wow, that's crazy. Veritas Vision, thank you for the subscription to the MG Show. We also had 5 subscriptions gifted by Whips in Spur. I really hope you're enjoying today's show. We are shadyless. I mean, this is Shady Muty Groove complete. This is like no Muty. It's weird not having my partner in Justice giving the color commentary. I hope he's doing well. Real quick, too, I want to give you an update on James. You see nothing. He sent me a picture of right here is where they did. He's doing well. He's texting me. He's talking. He is looking to make a full recovery. Continue those prayers for James. You see nothing. Area of Point in Dallas, Texas area. God bless you, James. We love you. And we'll be right back after these beautiful boom messages.
Hello to all of you beautiful patriots out there.
First of all, let me just thank you all for supporting this show. We wouldn't be here without you. But I have a huge announcement regarding donations.
It has come to our attention that using the Rumble app is taking an additional 30% of your donation to the show.
Let me explain. According to our TOS, Rumble takes 20% of all donations made through the web browser.
And that's a 20%. It's a good deal if you consider other platforms like YouTube and such.
There is a hidden cost that we just found out. For example, we received the generous $500 donation from Spill Tea, and thank you so much for that, from the Rumble app on Apple. So Rumble took 20%, and Apple took an additional 30%. We brought that to Rumble, and they said, well, Rumble's take of tips and donations is 20%. That's if the transaction is done through the web browser. If using the Android or iOS app, it's an additional 30% collected by those platforms.
So please use the web browser to make your donations to the show and avoid the hidden fees by Apple and Android.
That's right. You can also support us at GiveSendGo/HelpMGShow, mg.show/donate. We have PayPal and Cash App. Both are at RealMGShow or $RealMGShow. Please help us out. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
awaken to a reality which you never suspected. You're coming out of the fantasy. You are becoming illumined.
I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you. I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you.
You are discovering that illumination can be upsetting. It can also be wonderful. That the real world is much different than the one you knew, and that the burden of the voice that speaks to you from within, as a result of that, is like the thunder and lightning of God. I know the feeling well. And if you're paying attention to it, it's your first vision of God, because visions of God only come with the truth. When you see the truth, you are dealing with God.
I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you. I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you.
It's a vision absolutely necessary to all of our future progress, if we're going to make any. Without this divine law, there could be no harmony of the soul. And as seekers after oneness with God, we must discover and apply to our own life the laws of His being. You see, it's easier to yield up something once and for all than maintain a daily conflict with ourselves and forcing upon ourselves obedience in thought, word, and deed to the divine law. The conflict is within you. It always has been.
I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you. I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you. I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way to you. I will never give up, I will never run, I will never stop until I find my way.
It is indeed, ladies and gentlemen, a steep ascent, always rugged, mostly lonely, often very dangerous, and at times so very, very difficult as to seem beyond our ability, yet it is the only way. This nation hinges upon the success of those who are climbing.
I love that song. I will never give up. I will until I find my way to you, guys. Wow, that's a beautiful rendition with Bill Cooper's wise words. Jules Patriot says, I wish he was here to see it. He is here. He's in our hearts. He's looking down saying, wow, we're actually moving the needle on the deep state. And that's what we're doing right here on the MG Show every day, guys. And I wanted to just thank you guys very much for your donations. I got a $20 from Say Huh 7-Eleven. Here you go, Jeff. Hope you get more money today. You're doing great solo. Thank you so much, Mikey Mariano. Good to see you. Says it kind of reminds him of the old days when Shady was doing the Q Lounge live by himself. This is not easy. You know, I talked for a whole hour already, guys, and I don't like talking. I don't like it. Uh-oh, what's that? Good evening. We had a little Shady there. Did you do that, Yeti? You did that, didn't you? I love it. I love it a lot. Now, I wanted to real quick, this is what, okay? I wanted to let you guys know that Ray Chandler is who we should probably be focusing on with this Epstein stuff. Ray Chandler is actually in the Q posts, okay? let's actually go over there. Oh, there you guys are. Hi, guys. Let me see. Let's go to QAG right here, and let's put in Chandler, Chandler. Not like the Friends guy, but there's 16 posts with Ray Chandler. Okay, Ray Chandler. Look up Ray Chandler. None are safe. Okay, R. Chandler with Bill Clinton. Epstein's plane. Who is she? Follow friends. Friends lead to others. Open source. Q. Ray Chandler with Eminem, and this says Ray Chandler at 17 or 16 with Eminem. Okay. Why is Eminem so vocal against POTUS? Biggest connection missing. Focus on friends, too. One female, one male, one presidential pardon, one 187, MS-13, purpose. Okay. This is right here. This is Ray Chandler. Happy to announce Midland Agency, casting and manager by Walter Pierce and I. They're introducing a Guy Cartier right here. Poor kid. Looks like she needs saving. I mean, look at that. Look at the comments. What the F are we looking at here? Trafficking in plain sight. Q says, report to FBI DOJ. Watch what happens. Spotlight. Subject deviation. Risk. End. Q. Ray Chandler right here. Instagram. The Night. The Island. Night 3. Study carefully. Facebook. IG. Ray Chandler. Twitter, X, etc. Honeypots. These are your honeypots, guys. Okay. This is Reuters. This article needs to be taken out because if you sometimes the anons took out spaces, 2 spaces to be exact. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. This is the article right here. U.S. Congress on sex trafficking. Trump signs law to punish websites for sex trafficking, guys, and that was back in the first term. They don't like that very much, I guarantee you. This is Bill Clinton. Oh, wow. And some other guys. I can't remember who they all are. If you guys know, let us know in the comments. But this has started digging on this pic Q posted, trying to figure out who took the pic, who took it. Doing a search on it on Tin Eye, the first article that drops from the True Pundit last March. One thing, that's now the Gateway Pundit. One thing that popped out during the dig further in a bit was the location of the pic. Clinton is seen here kicking back at a beach day in January 2017 in Pamia Baya Habib. I can't even say it right. An exclusive haven of warm waters and refuge near the so-called Paso de Catuano, very close to Isla Saona. This resort is only accessible by private boat. No idea who took the pic yet, still digging, but I thought I'd share the location in case it helps any one of you. Anybody know about this resort? Is it a last resort? And this is raychandler.us. How many girls were waiting for their return to the boat? Who owned the boat? What does the handler procure? What does a handler, Ray Chandler, procure? Is the handler one of many connected to Epstein? Flight logs reveal many hidden artifacts. Ray Chandler, RC in Killbox. Again, we got this. What high profile? So who is Ray Chandler? What high profile elite people fund and provide Rachel with her photography studio? What is the studio used for? What is the studio really used for? Who has Ray Chandler been pictured with? This goes far beyond spirit cooking models. And this is another one right here. Chandler equals child handler. These people are sick. If the records become unsealed, much more will be revealed. Watch the news for Rachel Chandler. Do you hear any of these influencers talking about Rachel Chandler, guys? Do you? I don't see anybody. I don't hear anybody talking about her. All they're saying is scam blondie, Epstein files, blah, 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 blah. Right? All right, so this is another weird picture from Ray Chandler's Instagram. I remember this day. It was disgusting, these pictures. That almost looks like a young lady blah, blah. Look at these pictures, guys. I mean, these pictures are disgusting. Ray Chandler's Tumblr is just one on the edge of gross, and then Q reposted that, okay? This is the island, okay? Look at Ray Chandler had the possible Epstein Island security cam pic on her Instagram. Look at that. So if you look at this picture, let me just blow it up. There's the picture. This looks like Hillary Clinton, by the way. I'm just going to say it right here. I mean, it's Nancy Pelosi. No, it doesn't look like Nancy Pelosi to me. It looks like Hillary Clinton. If you've ever seen this. And then, so if you look at this, these are like this looks like stairs going down. This looks like a hallway with stairs going down. This looks weird, guys. This looks like people sitting on stools. And then there might be something really gross right here on the table, okay? This looks like a weird pathway, a weird pathway. All right, let me try to move this up. This is channel 16. But the one that really got me was this channel 10. Let me see if I can really blow it up for you. Look at that. There it is. So they're sitting on like what looks like buckets or stumps, and they're in a weird room, guys. And that could be Epstein Island, according to what Q reposted and what the Anons dug on. So this is it. Chandler, okay? Fam Damley, okay? Who are these people? This is the squad I wanted to be a part of. This is Ray Chandler's family. This is another one, Ray Chandler. This is where they get the red shoes stuff, right? Now, I wore red shoes. Not these red shoes, you idiots. Ruby slippers. Click twice. And that's interesting. So this is another Ray Chandler picture. Thank you, Rita. What a weird picture. Look at this weird picture. Look at this kid. That's William Gedney. Okay, that's who that is, or who posted it. I don't know. And, this is disgusting, guys. Okay? Keep digging, Anons. Rachel Chandler is key. Who's talking about Ray Chandler? Anybody? Yep. So these chairs are in a club in New York City. I'm sure these chairs or logs could be anywhere, guys. But it didn't look like a club according to the other cameras on there. That's just my opinion. But it's interesting to ponder, guys. Okay. So I'm going to go back to this. Who is Rachel Chandler? Okay. This is her biography. There she is right there. Who is Ray Chandler? Casting opportunities. The prime goal of Midland management is to give people a new way of looking at fashion, and critics agree that Chandler and Pierce have been successful. Unconventional models. Chandler's career in fashion photography matches her philosophy behind model representation and casting. Prior to creating Midland Management, Chandler worked for Eckhouse Latta year-round. Eckhouse Latta is a fashion brand founded by Mike Eckhouse and Zoe Latta, and it's renowned in fashion circles for using unexpected materials and exploring texture in their design. They are also known for their use of unconventional models, having worked with non-model models like chefs, artists, skateboarders, and writers. Eckhaus's and Latta's photography, video, and fashion work has been on display at Whitney Museum, the Hammer Museum, and Museum of Modern Arts. Partner Walter Pierce at Midland Management right here. She's a fashion photographer, model, and American DJ. Her work history as an eclectic as her personal style and the way she spins tunes. You can spend time with Chandler. You never know exactly what you're going to get. She is currently a partner at Midland Management Casting, having founded the agency in 2016 with Walter Pierce, P-E-A-R-C-E. Separation of traditional industry standards. This is basically based in New York. Midland Agency, renowned, one of the freshest and most revolutionary voices in the modern fashion industry. Chandler and her business partner, Pierce, worked to burst through the traditional industry standards, beauty, and engaging diverse clientele and breaking down the walls of common fashion mores. Okay, a talent agency as well. It's also unique in that it is a hybrid organization that both manages and casts models. Through this dynamic is more popular in Europe, it is less so in the United States. Interesting. Casting straight out of the streets of New York, giving employment to unprivileged and vulnerable youth. A Scientology vibe, guys. Okay, very interesting. So streets in New York are keen eye for seeking out beauty outside traditional standards. Icons living among us. Indeed, brands like Calvin Klein and J. Crew have been turning to the street, cast model, and Midland Management provides the opportunity for clients to have day jobs or other obligations, unlike other casting firms. There is working with Eckhouse Latta turned out to be a career boon for Chandler, who ultimately signed two of her own models for Midland, who she met through Eckhouse Latta's casting calls. Chandler is widely regarded for having sought after eye for capturing beauty and discovering talent in unlikely places. Her conventional methods have always been coveted in fashion circles. In 2012, Vogue covered a New York store opening that she photographed using only Polaroids. In her teens, Rachel Chandler moved out of New York to study at Gallatin School for Art. Excuse me if I said that wrong. Gallatin School of Art. She moved to New York to study the history of art at the Gallatin School, or is it Gallatin School? I don't know. While studying there, she also participated in a number of internships and art organizations. DJ Ray Chandler is also at the Standard Hotel, guys. To earn extra money, Chandler also DJ'd at the Standard Hotel, Avenue, and Beatrice Inn. But don't think of her as another slash. In a 2011 interview with the paper, she noted that there are a lot of model slash actresses slash DJs. She didn't want any part of that. Midland also sought out models that did not fit the script of traditional. They sought out real people in their words. Pretty interesting. Okay. Chandler will find you an actual girl. Very interesting. And an androgynous look. Unfortunately, the youth from the LGBTQ plus community are living in the youth shelters separated from family, which presents perfect candidates for modeling. Question mark? Location, location, location. There you go. This is a nice little thread from What That What. Let's meet Rachel Chandler's Midland partner, Walter Pierce. There he is right there, director of Changing the Face of Fashion. Right here, you got the streets cast models, a talent scout at the age of 20, children recruiting children. Rachel Chandler was only 14 when this happened, guys. Okay. How did you first get involved in fashion? I grew up an hour away from in the woods, so I was literally 14 and coming into the city to intern for DIS magazine. That was my first internship. I'm impatient in a way of work-wise. It's hard for me to wait for things, and that's less so now because I'm doing a lot of work. But back then, I wasn't going to wait until college. I've always liked fashion, and I've always cared about how I dressed and blah, blah, blah. Do you prefer being busy? I'm not depressed if I'm working a lot. I live in a basement, and I only have red and blue light bulbs. It's the same color no matter what time of day, 3 p.m. or 12 a.m. It's always the same, which is good for after-hours parties. Street casting at the age of 16, sending PDFs of potential people to be casting through Hood by Air. This is through DIS Magazine, internship at Hood by Air when she was 16. After a while, Shane, Oliver, and Ian Isaiah saw something in me. Shane suggested to the former casting director that he take me under his wing. So she's groomed, guys. I mean, is that what we're seeing? So what does street casting mean to you? Street casting, I mean, is not a signed model, someone that offers something that an agency or a boy couldn't. There are times when we're literally on the street or on the subway and walking crazy. Instagram boy, that's the amazing, that's the last thing. She finds them on Instagram. There's one I think that's her right there. I don't want an Instagram girl or an Instagram boy. That's the last thing I want. I want 31 followers who doesn't know what the F Hood by Air is or ID Magazine. That's what I'm really trying to find. You have to get into wormholes. You click someone and click their friend's account and click their tagged photos. And then she's actually hunting for people, guys. That's what it is. Real quick, BW996. Thank you so much. Awesome job, Jeff. But I do miss Shady's rants. I hope he's back on Monday. I do too. I mean, I fired him and, we're going to try to see how we're doing. So a level of discomfort right here. Look at this right here. The goal in my casting is that there is a level of, I don't want to say discomfort, but something about them should not be right looking. Should not be. It's crazy. Walk like you're late for the train, or I'm like you're about to miss your flight home from Paris. Okay, interesting. Fashion is about the clothes. You're just shopping for the people. She's painting a story. That's what she's doing as an editor. Just teenage dirtbag, baby. You recently dropped out of FIT, where you studied photography, FIT. How was your experience there? In general, I'm against the school now. I'm against art school now. Just to think the point art schools is to meet people that are super inspiring to you. There's absolutely no one inspiring there. Just people taking pictures of flowers on pink seamless. The worst of the worst work in critics. Most of the professors don't even know what I do, don't even know what to do with me because I was in school. And they didn't know if they loved me or hated me, should fail me or give me an A. How do you connect through youth? So this is basically her biography. Rough day. This is Walter Pierce losing. Oh my gosh. So there were models that were cast by Midland. Here's some of them right here. Like, look at them right here. I mean, and you saw that in the Q post. Models. Pretty interesting. Yeah. Good work. What. Love it. 16 models. There they are right there. This is the actual, post. One of the models is Hirakash. Here he is here. Live Again, the first single off his upcoming project. I'm not going to play it. Probably very satanic. And here, Kash Walter Pierce, how a woman gravitated to him. There they are right there. So that is a little bit of that post. I wanted to send, just let you guys know. I'll send you guys the link in there because it's a very interesting dig. Ray Chandler. Nobody's talking about Ray Chandler. Why is that? Why is that? Models, a.k.a. victims, Land of Hoy. Yeah, it seems like it. I have a message from Shady. Ask Jeff for a rant. I am ranting. I'm ranting this whole 2 hours. This is called a rant, right? Can I get a pass for that? Please? Maybe? You can't replace the Shady. The economy is booming. Consumer spending up, inflation low, wages up, right there. And by the way, President Trump wants you to watch this great tribute to the Incredible Hulkster that you won't want to miss. It's on Fox Nation. Okay, and look at I really am kind of disappointed in True Social. K Frost, my favorite Bill Cooper, K Frost, and I missed the Shady Rants. Happy Friday, folks. Thank you so much, K Frost. Appreciate you. We try to do our best here. We try to work every day. We need to keep going, guys. Look, I'm really hoping she's a secret witness now. God, this story has to come out. I saw all those pictures. Prayers for lung cancer surgery next Friday. Prayers for you. Absolutely. They're taking a lobe of your lung. That's veteran RN of her lung. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And yes, we got the prayer warriors right here, right now, praying for you as well. I'm just going to see. Yeti, anything yet? Nope. No. I'm going to go ahead and refresh that real quick. Boom. Okay. Let's see. Sometimes when I refresh, I got it. So George Soros and his wonderful left son should be charged with RICO to support violent protests and much more. And, this is interesting. This is what happened and then right after that, next day, guys. Tough crowd, Keck. Doing great. Jeff, much love. Thank you, M. McKinnon. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. We try our hardest. We try. And I don't see anything there as well. So let's go ahead and look at this because I saw a little bit of it last night. It was J.D. Vance, guys. J.D. Vance had a nice meeting. I think it was in Minneapolis as well. Let me get to where I need to be because we do this live. And this is J.D. Vance, his remarks at Mid-City Steel. This was at 2:19 yesterday as well. He delivered remarks highlighting the impacts of Republicans' tax spending cuts and all that stuff. But he also spoke about, discussed the shooting at the Catholic school in Minneapolis and prayed for the victims for the shooting. Check it out. Let's check some of this out.
Thank you all. We love you all. Thank you all, Wisconsin. It's great to be here. We have a great looking crowd here. Thank you all. It's the best looking group of welders and steel men and women I've seen in my entire life, I think. This is a sharp crew. Now, everybody behind me, I was told, volunteered to be there. And so you guys have to clap and cheer at everything that I say. And if not, we're going to have to kick you the hell out of here. And a couple of them actually, and I'm not going to call them out by name, but they were selected because they're some of the hardest working and best working people in this facility. And we just want to say we're proud of you guys, proud of what you do, and proud that the tradition of Wisconsin craftsmanship lives on in this great facility right here today. Now, before we get started here, and I want to talk about the big, beautiful bill, I want to give a few notes of appreciation and gratitude. So, first of all, I think this is probably the third or fourth time I've been to La Crosse, Wisconsin. I came here a lot, during the campaign. It was always great to be here. And I joked that you all would get sick of me, but I would come back as Vice President of the United States.
Real quick, Lando Hoyle, need to drop a Labor Day rant. Good work, Jeff, and you do shady, proud. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We also had Leon Levin in honor of your hard work on Labor Day. President Trump and Marco Rubio, who has 4 jobs. I got 15 jobs, man. Real on an Eagle. God bless you all, Patriots. I'm heading to work and listening in the ear. Thank you so much. And we got you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys could support the show, we really appreciate it.
And I'm proud that I got to keep that promise. Thanks to you. So I want to thank Paul Bagnevsky. Paul, thank you so much. I got it A minus maybe on that pronunciation. He is the president and CEO of this incredible facility. We're so thankful to be here. I want to thank Jake Koshiel and the rest of the Tough Job team for giving us such a warm welcome here in Wisconsin. I also want to thank, and you heard Doug Burgum, our great Secretary of the Interior. How good of a job is Doug Burgum doing as Secretary of the Interior? Doug, thank you. Doug is doing a great job, but you heard him give a shout out, and I'm going to give another shout out to the great Representative Derek Van Orden. Thank you, Derek. Please stand up. Give it up for this guy. He works harder. He works harder than anybody in Congress. He works so hard that he lost most of his hair, in fact, over his time in Congress. I'm sorry about that. I had to poke a little fun at my good friend Derek, but you know, there are so many people who just show up in Washington. They go along to get along, they cast a vote or don't, but don't really do much else. Derek is fighting every single day for the people of this district. You should be proud of him, because I certainly am. Thank you, Derek. And I guess we got the senior class from Luther High School. Where are all the Luther High School students? Where are y'all at? Thank you all. Now, have you all started school yet, or are you playing hooky today? You have. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad the vice president coming to town got you guys out of school a little bit. But let's talk about the future, because these kids are the future. We want to make sure that they have a prosperous American future to grow up in. And let me take you back a little bit to where I grew up in Middletown, Ohio, southwestern Ohio, where my papaw, and the reason I love the welders in particular is my papaw for 42 years was a union welder at a place called Armco Steel. And when I was growing up, Armco Steel had shed about 80% of the workforce that it had employed when my papaw was working there during its heyday. And unfortunately, it was one of the lucky ones, because a lot of the steel mills lost about 80% of their workforce. A lot of the steel mills didn't exist at all. And I think that what happened is that for those of us who grew up in those factory towns, we were so used to seeing those proud, big, beautiful factories, seeing the night sky lit up with that furnace. We were proud of what our parents and our grandparents made every single day. And of course, they were proud to earn the kind of a job that enabled them to provide us a good life. And what happened? Thanks to a generation of failed politicians and stupid decisions, those factories closed down one by one by one. And many of those proud towns that made us who we are, ladies and gentlemen, those proud towns became ghost towns. Well, not anymore. What the President of the United States was elected on a promise to do was to bring back American manufacturing, to bring back American craftsmanship, and that is exactly what President Donald Trump is doing every single day in Washington.
Every single day. D-Groove, wish I could do more. $5 Rumble Rant. Rock Chip, long, cool woman, love it. Support those who feed your soul.
How nice is it to have
Worthy Help Deep Dives, Moringa, Black Seed Oil, and Turkey Tail Mushrooms. Thank you, Rock Chip.
Rewards companies for building factories right here in the United States of America. How nice is it to have a president of the United States who, instead of raising your taxes, is cutting your taxes by historic margins every single day, as we just did. For years, American leaders would ask you to work overtime, would ask you to spend even more time away from your family, and every hour that you spend at the job, they would reach further and further into your pocket. How nice is it to have a president of the United States who cut taxes on overtime, because we believe that if you spend an extra hour at work, the government ought to keep its hands the hell out of your pocket. Is that right? We know about 5%, about 1 in 20 Wisconsin workers rely on tips to bring home the bacon for themselves and their families. How nice is it to have a president of the United States and Republican majorities in Congress that cut taxes on tips instead of forcing our waitresses and service professionals to deal with the IRS. We ought to make it easier for folks to get by, which is exactly what we did when we cut taxes on tips in Wisconsin.
Thank you, Rev Rob. Jeff, you're my other hero. Thank you. Thank you, Cupid's Cowgirl, one subscription.
Tax cuts did is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. It let you keep more money.
Thank you,
in your
17
pocket.
pages for truth. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, MG Show and Patriots. Thank you.
Right here in the United States of America, it makes it easy for you to take home more of your hard-earned pay, and it makes it easier if you're an American manufacturer or an American business.
Thank you, Yao Ming. Outstanding information, $10. Thank you.
Facility or expand your facility right here in the United States of America. I happen to believe that it's the dumbest decision we made as a country to reward foreign companies with putting stuff overseas instead of right here in places like Wisconsin. Well, now we have a different president with a different attitude. If you're building in the United States of America, if you're working in the United States of America, if you're trying to earn a decent living right here at home, we are going to fight for you every single day. But if you build crap overseas and try to undercut the wages of American workers, you're going to pay a big fat tariff before you bring it back in to the United States of America. Now, I was talking with a Fox News host earlier, and I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. I'm going to make him stand up and be recognized. You guys know Will Kane. Will, a lot of us watch his show. He's doing a good job. You know, what I told Will earlier is that all these problems are interconnected. Why is it that we allowed these Mexican drug cartels to bring this poisonous fentanyl into our communities? Why is it that so many people lost hope and started taking that fentanyl? Why is it that we had a government that seemed to care more about illegal immigrants than they did about their own citizens? It's all connected, because when they shipped your job overseas in the last administration or in administrations that came before it, what they also did at the same time is they allowed those cartels to come in to our country and take advantage of our communities. So what the working class families tax cut does is, yes, it gives you more take-home pay. Yes, it cuts taxes on overtime. Yes, it cuts taxes on tips, but it also gives our incredible law enforcement over $100 billion to get those drug cartels the hell out of our country once and for all. It's very simple. Donald Trump's Republican Party wants very simple things for this country. We want you to be able to earn a good living in your community. We want you to be able to walk down a city street in broad daylight without getting mugged. We want you to be able to take your family out to a nice meal wherever you want to without the fear of violence from criminals, whether they're domestic criminals or international drug cartels. If you work hard every single day, you ought to take as much of your hard-earned pay home as possible. And if you want to raise your children in security and comfort, you ought to send them to a school that gives them a good education instead of an indoctrination. These are very simple things, ladies and gentlemen, and all we needed was better leadership in Washington to deliver it. Now, Representative Van Orden will tell you this, but if you didn't know, that it turned out that we didn't get a single Democrat vote for cutting taxes on tips, cutting taxes on overtime, or increasing the child tax credit. Not a single Democrat in the House or the Senate could actually deign to vote for giving you more of your hard-earned money. And we got to ask ourselves why that is. Because as much as I am proud of what we've accomplished, it would honestly be a little bit easier, wouldn't it, Derek, if the Democrats actually worked with us instead of fighting us every single step of the way. And you're going to see this. We're a little early for campaign season, but in a couple months or maybe about a year, you're going to start seeing television advertisements. And you're going to start seeing Democrats lying about what's in these working families tax cuts. And I'm going to tell you exactly what they're going to say. They're going to tell you that this bill, which gives you more of your hard-earned money, that they opposed it, not because they want to raise your taxes, and they do, but because they're worried about your health care. They are so worried about your health care, in fact, that they want to give more and more of your health care to illegal immigrants. And that's exactly why they voted against this bill. I know we have this beautiful high school class back there. And I'll give you, just from a vice president to the high school seniors, I'll give you guys just a little bit of relationship advice from a man who's been happily married for 11 years. Find yourself somebody who loves you as much as national Democrats love giving health care benefits to illegal aliens. That's my advice for you. Because it is, as far as I can tell, it is, as far as I can tell, the reason why the National Democratic Party exists. Do you know that this bill makes tens of billions of dollars in investments in our rural healthcare infrastructure, which was falling apart under the last administration? This legislation guarantees that hardworking Americans are going to have access to their Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid benefits. But what this bill refuses to do, and what Republicans absolutely refuse to do, is to give your hard-earned benefits to people who don't have the legal right to be in this country to begin with. It is very simple. And if you want to protect the people's benefits, if you want to protect rural health care, if you want to make sure that whether you live in a big city or a small town, you have the ability to go and see a doctor, and that is exactly what we want to do, then the first thing you ought to be doing is making sure that the people who get federal health care benefits actually have the right to be in this country in the first place. That is the first and most important step. And that's what this legislation did. So don't believe the lies and don't believe the attacks. What we are doing with this legislation is giving you a tax cut and trying to rebuild the healthcare infrastructure of this country that got decimated under Joe Biden's leadership. But what we are also doing, in order to preserve the benefits that you paid into for your entire lives, is making sure those benefits only go to our fellow American citizens and not to people who ought to go back to their home country because they're here in this country illegally. It's very simple. And think about this. Think about the math, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot have these health care benefits if you allow tens of millions of people into this country who have no legal right to be here and give them those benefits. We were on the freight train to bankruptcy under Joe Biden's leadership because we had a Democratic Party that didn't care enough about this country to actually enforce our borders. And it's that simple. And so when I see the Democrats, I got to be honest with you, it makes me a little bit angry. When I see Democrats fighting against cutting your taxes and saying it's about health care, it's not about health care for you, it's about health care for illegal aliens. And we happen to believe in a different principle. You ought to keep more of your hard-earned money. That if you work overtime, you ought to be rewarded for it. And that when you pay into the federal system, you receive those benefits and not anybody who didn't pay into them to begin with. So, let me say just a couple more things and then I'll hit the road, but maybe I'll take some questions. Should we take some questions from the fake news, ladies and gentlemen? Would that be fun? Okay, we can do that too, but we'll try to focus on the local Wisconsin reporters first because I know that they're not fake news, right? We got good local reporters here in Wisconsin? I don't know, mixed reviews based on the crowd here, but let me just say a couple more things. So this business, this manufacturing facility, I think represents the future of American craftsmanship. And I was talking to the CEO and to Jake earlier about this, but you know, there's this attitude that some people have that manufacturing, it's the jobs of the past, it's the industry of the past, that it's dirty, that it's not innovative. Why? I challenge any journalist to walk around this facility for 10 minutes and not realize that this is one of the most innovative companies in America. And this is the future of American industry, the future of American innovation, and the future of American manufacturing. They're using artificial intelligence in this facility. They're using robotics in this facility. They're doing things that frankly were not even possible 20 years ago, and they're doing them in order to build a great American future. We are practically a stone's throw away from a beautiful new bridge, a bridge that is being built with American-made steel from this manufacturing facility because we have great American craftsmen right here in Wisconsin, and we ought to fight for them. And I know the people out in the crowd, the people standing behind me, there are stories of proud work being done every single day. There are stories of a good wage being earned that allows these folks to support their families. There's stories of products that exist in the United States of America that we need, that we absolutely rely on, that are made right here with American workers and American hands. That makes me so proud to be your vice president, to get to stand here, to get to see a little bit of it, to take a little tour, to recognize that the American future that our children deserve, that the American future that our children rely on is going to be built by and for American workers, and you guys are the proudest American workers in that tradition. So God bless you, and thank you. And these guys, they're proud of what they do. They're doing something amazing. They're doing something that can't be done almost anywhere else in the world. They're earning a good wage in the process. This is what makes America great. And I love my papa. I said he was a union welder for 42 years. He was a proud man. He was a hardworking man. But my papa, before he died, he used to tell me that, he didn't know that American manufacturing was going to be as strong in the future as it was in his time. And again, I love my papa, but I think that's the wrong attitude. American manufacturing must be as strong in the future, or America's future will not exist without it. Do you think that our kids are going to have a future if we rely on foreign countries to make everything that we need? Do you think we're going to have a future if the pharmaceuticals that we put into the bodies of our children are made by a foreign adversary? Do you think we have a future if we can't even drive over a bridge without asking permission from some foreign country? That is no way to build a future. The way to build a future is with American workers, and I'm proud that in Wisconsin, that's exactly what we're doing. So God bless you all. And I want to say just one final thing, and I'm going to end this on a somber note. We've had some fun here, but I am very mindful of the fact that we're just a couple of minutes away from the Minnesota border. And of course, we had this terrible, terrible school shooting yesterday in Minneapolis. And I imagine, like a lot of you all, it hits pretty close to home, very personally, because though you may not know anybody who's affected by it, I think a lot of us know people who've been taking their kids in the last couple of weeks to their first day of school. And in fact, my son, my little 5-year-old, I love him so much. And if you're watching, buddy, Daddy loves you. He started his first day of kindergarten just 2 days ago. And again, we're very proud of him and we love him very much. But I know that there are a lot of families who are in their first week of school just outside of Minneapolis. And that was pierced. That incredibly pure and wonderful moment was pierced by a very vicious and a very evil person. And so I just want to say a couple of things. The first thing that I want to say is, remember, we're an American family. And the people who lost children, they are your fellow Americans. And those children who lost their lives and lost their future, they are your fellow citizens. So think about them and say a prayer for them. And remember that they are as much us as our neighbors right here in this wonderful community in Wisconsin. And the thing that they need most of all is they need their fellow Americans to reach out and care about them. And I know that every single one of us is going to do that. That's the first thing that I wanted to say. The second thing that I wanted to say is, when I first heard the news, I was worried that the death toll was going to be higher based on what the media reports were saying. And right now, there are still a couple of kids, some of whom in very critical condition, who may yet survive this. And I think they would appreciate your prayers, and their families would appreciate your prayers as well. So if you are the praying type, I'd ask you to say a prayer tonight for those kids that are still recovering, that they may recover fully and go on to live a full life, the life that was deprived from a couple of their classmates. And, you know, the stories, I'd encourage you to read some of the stories about what happened yesterday. about the violence, about the fact that you had 10-year-old kids laying over their friends to look after them and to try to protect them. And while yesterday was an unspeakable tragedy, I'd ask you to remember that we also saw the very best of the United States of America. And to every person who protected a friend, to every first responder, to every paramedic who made it so the death toll wasn't higher, we love you, we're proud of you, and we'll never forget the great American spirit that you showed yesterday.
Amen. Well said from our Vice President, J.D. Vance, who actually succumbed to a huge psychological operation from that said same network that's attacking Kash right now. Remember, they wanted Flynn to be VP and all this other garbage. I'm really glad that he is our VP. I'm very proud of J.D. Vance. He outlined what was going on, no tax on tips, all the different stuff that's happening in America that your president, Donald J. Trump, is doing. I saw somebody said, I still get tax on tips. Well, just stay tuned. He passed it. It's got to get ratified, and we'll get that done hopefully soon for you. But I wanted to just real quick, all this, garbage that people are saying that Q is and Q isn't, and people don't read the posts. I want to play this on the way out. I want to wish you guys a happy, Labor Day weekend, guys. And by the way, go watch Hillbilly Effigy, J.D. Vance's movie that's on Netflix, believe it or not. I think you can find it elsewhere as well. But that movie hit home for me when he talked about his father was a welder and his mother had issues, okay, guys? And he went to Harvard. He wasn't a skull and bone, like all the stupid psyops that, are being perpetrated on you. It's a lesson to be learned, guys. The psyops were on me. I went to, I wore red shoes because I walked a mile in her shoes because I gave to a women's shelter that protects women from abusive relationships, along with the children. So now I'm bad, right? I'm somehow bad for doing that. I'm somehow bad because I went somewhere and spoke about the bloodlines. People have to stop connecting things to other people. If I go to a Shell gas station to get gas, does that mean I'm Shell? No, that means I went to the Shell gas station to get gas. Well, if I work at Prager University,
a person's value.
Does that mean I'm the CEO of Prager University? No, it means that she's working for Prager University, and there was a CEO that had other ties. People have to start discernment. Use your discernment. Be careful who you follow. And I want to go after this too and play this too because we did this a long time ago. This is gonna be our ending song. Basically, it's what Q is all about, guys. Q posted these in unison again because second posting, when he reposts something, it means that it's very important. I want you guys to really listen what the Q message really is, guys. It's not JFK Jr.'s alive. It's not all this other garbage that people are saying. It's not Flynn is a hero. Okay, Flynn is not in the second administration. Now go back and reread the posts on Flynn. They look a lot differently if you take your little Flynn-colored glasses off. And I'm going to just leave it there. God bless you all. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys very much, very, very much. Shady, I hope you're having a great day today. Thank you for leaving me in this chair alone. Well, he would not be in my chair, but you know what I'm saying. God bless you all. Love you. Thank you, Yeti. We're going to go out with this. God bless you.
A person's value. 1. Vote. 2. Monetary value. Tax contribution. 3. Why is free thought ridiculed, challenged, and threatened when a person is opposed to the mainstream narrative? 2. Remains fixed, degree allowable by economic recession and expansion. 1. Remains a variable. 1. Dependent on a controlled system of information dissemination. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled and owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when the news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when the news simply becomes an extension arm of a political party? Fact becomes fiction. Fiction becomes fact. When does news become propaganda? Identity creation.
How does the average person who is under constant financial stress by design find time to research and discern fact versus fiction? Majority of people more prone to believe someone in power sitting behind a big brand news name. Do people, human psyche, tend to follow the majority mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated and or shunned? Mainstream is used for a reason. Dominate trend in opinion. If a majority of people believe X, then X must be validated true. Why do mainstream media heads within different organizations always use the same keywords and or catchphrases? Coordinated? By who? Outside entity providing instructions? Do they count on the fact that people, human psyche, are more prone to believe something if heard over and over again by different trusted sources? Do echo chamber tactics provide validation credibility to the topic, point being discussed? Threat to intellectual freedom? Would control over of these institutions, organizations, allow for mass control of population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Read again. Digest. Would control over of these institutions, organizations, allow for the mass control of population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Logical thinking. Why, after the election of 2016, did D's and media corporations jumpstart a coordinated and planned divisive blitz intended to create falsehoods regarding illegitimacy of election, character assassination of POTUS through sexism, racism, and every other ism? Pre-post 2016 election, why were violent masked terror orgs such as Antifa immediately created and funded? Why were these organizations tasked with immediate intimidation, shutdown of any pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized to counter and silence pro-POTUS rally and or events? Why were marches immediately organized which divided people into sex, gender, race, ism? When you control the levers of news dissemination, you control the narrative. Control of the narrative equals power. When you are blind, what do you see?
They want you divided. Divided by religion, divided by sex, divided by political affiliation, divided by class. When you are divided and angry and controlled, you target those different from you, not those responsible controllers. Divided, you are weak. Divided, you pose no threat to their control. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or stable livestock kept, sheep. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. This represents a clear and present danger to the constitutional republic of the United States of America. Q.
Decide for yourself. Be free from outside opinion. Decide for yourself. Be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself. Be true in your own beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be open to following the facts. Decide for yourself. Be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements.
Those that attack you, those that mock you, those who call you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement.
The Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter new social networking platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, patriotism, or national pride, feeling of love, devotion, and sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that position regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to clearly see. The choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. Q.
The entire world is watching. Patriots from around the world are praying for America. We're all bound by a feeling deep inside, a feeling that cannot be publicly expressed for fear of ridicule, a feeling that challenges the mainstream narrative against that which we are told to accept and dare not question. Put simply, that people are being abused by those in power and time is running out. Remember the battles of Lexington and Concord. Give me liberty or give me death. For far too long, we have been silent and allowed our bands of strength that we once formed to defend liberty and freedom to deteriorate. We became divided, we became weak. We elected traitors to govern us. We allowed evil to prey on us. Those who claimed to represent us gave us false hope, made false promises. The evil and corruption only grew.
This is more than party politics. This is about restoring old glory. This is about saving our land and our people from those who wish to harm. This is about preserving our republic. This is about preserving our safety. This is about restoring our strength. This is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is about protecting our children. This is about saving America.
We are all God's children. We are fathers. We are mothers. We are daughters. We are sons. We are brothers. We are sisters. We do not look at race. We do not look at skin color.
We are united in these states of America. We are and will always be patriots. We must rise again. We must unite again. We must fight again for God and country. God bless America. Where we go one, we go all.
And there you have it. Patriots from around the world, www.mg.show. Boom.